What's going on today, guys? It is Crossing the Line with Dev, and I am excited to be back for another episode this week. It's just going to be me this week, no guests, not a lot of news, so it might be kind of a short episode. We do have some movie news to get into because we've had some big movies already come out, a big movie about to come out that I'm going to go see tomorrow. We got, like, I don't know, maybe one or two stories of sports news because it's just the middle of the MLB season. The NFL season hasn't started yet and the NBA hasn't had any big trades or anything, then we'll just talk about some, entertainment news, movie news, all that good stuff. So let's just hop into it with like the small sports section of today. Damien Lillard signs back with the Trailblazers after 2 years with the Bucks. Now, I'm kind of confused. This feels more like a retirement plan. I know he hasn't said anything about retirement, but remember, Dame asked for the trade out, gets traded to Milwaukee. Milwaukee kind of blunders. They don't do as well as they expected to with Dame and Giannis on the team. Then Dame comes back and tears his Achilles in the playoffs after dealing with that blood clot issue. Now, this sucks. I'm happy that he's happy and he's back with his family because I know he said his family didn't move to Milwaukee with him. His family stayed in Portland. But Portland just paid $42 million for him to rehab for one of those years. I think it's a 3-year contract. So for one of those years, he's not even going to be playing. So this feels more like a retirement thing. Like he just wants to go back with the team that drafted him. Probably regrets leaving in the first place because it didn't result in any championship wins. But just happy to see him back in Portland. Hopefully he gets to play a couple years and hopefully he comes back from his injury performing well. But I know how Achilles injuries can be. They can be kind of wonky and it might take a little bit of time to get back to a place, where you're close to 100%. Other than that, not any real big other news. I mean, Otani ties the 5-year Dodger record or 5-game Dodger record for um, home runs, fifth straight game in LA. He just had the game with the walk-off, so that's pretty cool given that I'm a Dodgers fan and a huge Otani fan. That's kind of cool. Hopefully he can get close to that 7-8 mark, which is like the MLB league record. 3 guys hold that record. Otani's at 37 home runs this season. He's only 1 or 2 behind Cal Raleigh. So we'll see how that shapes up. It's the middle of the MLB season. They just had the All-Star break. We're kind of gearing up for playoffs, but we're not quite there yet. So there's not too much news there. I know they're coming up on the trade deadline. So we'll see if there's any big moves in the trade deadline. But as of right now, there's not. So let's hop over into the movie news, the stuff that I'm excited to talk about this week because it's current and it's currently going on. Last week, we talked about Superman and Fantastic Four First Steps box office. Now, the box office performed way better than I expected it would have with Superman. Now, it's a very American forward movie in the aspect that this may not do as well internationally as it does domestically, as other movies do, because it's so America centric, America forward, whatever you want to say. So this movie needed to perform well domestic. It needed to perform decent international, but it also needed to be very front heavy because Fantastic Four is going to be direct competition this week. So Superman needed to exceed expectations in the first 2 weekends to really see this movie make money. At least make money for, the DCU and for James Gunn taking over. If this movie didn't make money, he probably wasn't going to have another movie. But this movie did incredibly well. I thought this movie was going to do maybe 3 something, but over the weekend, it did like 235, like over the first 2 weekends, it did like 235 domestic and like almost, I think it's almost 200 international or just over 200 international. So this movie has grossed $406.8 million globally. That's a huge win for DC. Huge win. That just surpassed Captain America's entire run, Thunderbolt's entire run as it was in theaters. I'm happy because even though I'm a huge Marvel fan, I'm happy that not only do we have more superhero movies that we're going to be able to see, but Superman was good. It was a great movie. One of the better Superman, if not better DCU movies I've ever seen, or just DC movies. I was not expecting as good of a movie as it was. Even though I've liked all of James Gunn's MCU movies, I just I was on the fence about this movie, and especially with the direct competition from Fantastic Four, I was worried that this movie not only would fall short of expectations entertainment wise, but fall short of expectations when it came to how much they grossed as a movie. But $406 million going into the third weekend. They're going to have direct competition. That means no more IMAX theaters. Fantastic Four is going to take up a lot of showtimes. It's going to take up a lot of ticket purchases. But this Superman will probably be in theaters for a month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever the length of time it's going to be. So it's going to make more money. So it's probably going to be around that 600 mark. That's incredible for James Gunn's first DCU movie. Now, Fantastic Four is looking like it's going to open around 100 and let me see where it was. It's looking like it's going to open at about $110 million domestic, another $90 to $100 million international. That's looking like $190 to $210 million on the first weekend. That's pretty great. People are expecting this movie to be right around that $700, $800 million mark. Based on pre-sales, Fantastic Four has sold more tickets than Superman, so it should do better at least the first weekend. And since it's maybe not as America forward, it's probably going to do even better percentage-wise internationally. This movie's going to do great. I just hope that it is great, because if this movie's great and it's opening that well, then word of mouth is going to carry this movie to pretty great heights. $700 $800 million mark is right around where Marvel and Disney want to be. They want to be there. Now, Kevin Feige had a lot of interviews this week, and he kind of talked about how they definitely made mistakes, and they definitely put out too much content after Endgame. I think maybe that has a lot to do with COVID. Everything had to be on streaming, so they wanted to push something out to get people to watch because there were more eyes watching TVs at the time. Nobody was at work, everybody was at home. But he also explained how there's going to be a reset after Doomsday or after Secret Wars. And so they're going to have a new cast of flagship characters, new legendary cast. It's looking like it's going to be the mutant era, which means we're going to get X-Men recasting. That's probably going to be what the next Avengers, the next MCU is going to be all about, is going to be the mutants, which is, X-Men related, which I am stoked for. X-Men is great. People are, claiming that Apocalypse is going to be the next big bad. We're not there yet. We haven't even hit the next Avengers movies. They just got pushed back 7 months because of scheduling conflicts, because they have so many big cast members in that movie, and it's probably impossible to schedule them all there at the same time when they all have their own stuff going on. But if you look at the show, let me look this up real quick, and I apologize if I'm quiet for a second. Before Endgame movie hours and after Endgame content hours, because it's pretty crazy. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to see this. I don't know. I read this on Twitter, but it was like there was only 50 something hours of content put out before Endgame for the MCU, and afterwards it was almost double because of all the shows they put out. They pushed a lot of movies, which is crazy. So like they probably had a lot more hits because they could take a lot more time, spend a lot more money and effort making the movies they did after Iron Man came out until Endgame. And then after Endgame, they pushed a lot of TV, a lot of shows that kind of had to do a storyline, kind of didn't have to do, a lot of movies that, a couple movies that didn't even have anything to do with the storyline that they were currently on, like the Eternals. They put a lot more content hours out, including animated, after Endgame came out. So you're going to have some misses in there. Now, they probably had too many misses. Like, let's not disagree. There was a lot of bad misses after Endgame came out, but it's looking like they're going to scale back a lot of what they put out. So it's probably going to be a lot more, feature films, maybe a TV show or two just to keep audiences hooked, but they're not going to be putting out, 6 TV shows and 4 movies a year. It's probably going to be more like 2 or 3 movies, maybe a show every year, every 2 years that's highly produced. But I'm kind of happy that they're scaling back. It hurts me because I do like having content to watch, but there just was too much out there. And it got pretty convoluted when they're trying to follow one storyline. And then with Kang, Jonathan Majors getting arrested and them having to change everything that they had planned, it kind of split that after the Endgame storyline into 2 parts. And it made it confusing for, I think, a lot of like basic viewers, just the people who are going to watch whatever is popular at the time, not the people that are huge nerds and fans like me who are going to watch everything they put out and be invested in the storyline. And it's crazy that they're speculating that Apocalypse might be the new big bad with the mutant era. That'd be really cool. But I'm going to see Fantastic Four tomorrow. I'll probably record some social media clips after I see the movie, giving my take on how I felt about it with no spoilers. Now, remember, I did that after Superman and I absolutely loved it and told you guys you should absolutely go see that movie. But I've been even more excited for Fantastic Four First Steps, not only because I'm a Marvel fan, but because the cast. I liked all the trailers. It just looks like it's going to be an incredible movie. And so I'm hoping it doesn't let me down because my expectations are sky high. Sky high. Now, I'm assuming a lot of you are going to go watch it too, but man, am I excited to go see this movie. Going to IMAX, having to drive an hour because that's the nearest IMAX theater, but I wanted to see this one movie in IMAX. Taking my little sister because her and I go see every Marvel movie together. It's the best thing ever. I look forward to it. I tell her how excited I am every time. She may not be as big of a Marvel fan as I am. She may have not seen every movie because she's not old enough to, just because she is kind of in her own, into her own things. But I take her to go see every movie that comes out, and it is the best time. And so if I can get her to do a social clip, maybe she'll give her opinion on it too, coming from a non biased Marvel fan about how that movie was. Now, let's go over some other kind of big topics. Oh man, there's not a lot of topics. Not a lot of topics. Looks like, oh, they just came out with the Stranger Things trailer. It comes out in November. Man, this show, it is good. We all love it, but it's taken forever. Forever. It's Netflix like flagship show, but these kids are supposed to be like just entering high school and they're all getting old. Millie Bobby Brown is doing like feature films in theaters. The dad is in Thunderbolts and he's going to be in the Avengers. I just I love that show. I love Stranger Things, but let's be honest, they've taken too much time to create this show, and I'm sure it costs a lot of money. All these casts are getting new gigs because that show is so popular. But I am excited for that. My sister's excited for Wednesday. I have not finished season 1, but I will. I know how good of a show it is. I just haven't gotten around to it. Some other entertainment news. After the Chris Pratt Jurassic World, sequel trilogy, whatever you want to call it kind of ended on a bad note. The first one came out, it was pretty good. It got us all involved in Jurassic World again. The second one came out, it kind of felt really corporate, like it felt very corporate and simple. The third one came out, it wasn't great. Then they announced Jurassic World Rebirth like way sooner than I ever expected they would do a reboot of the series. It's only been what, 3-4 years since the last Chris Pratt one came out, maybe 2, and then they already redid it. So seeing the trailers, I thought it was going to be good, but initial reactions were like this movie wasn't great. That this movie was not good at all, and there weren't a lot of dinosaurs in it. And so my hopes went down for how well this movie did. But as of July 22nd, Jurassic World Rebirth is sitting at $652 million worldwide. Worldwide box office. That is insane. They're definitely going to make another 1 or 2 of these. I was not expecting. I expected maybe 250. 600 is nuts. Stoked. We get more movies out and people are going to see movies. Maybe it's summertime. They have the time to do it. I don't know. But $600 million for Jurassic World Rebirth? I love Scarlett Joe. She's a baddie. But I was not expecting this at all. At all. Especially with reports saying this movie wasn't great. It grossed $318 million in the 5-day opening weekend period. What? How? How? People are going to see this movie. And word of mouth didn't need to carry it. Reviews didn't need to carry it. This was just people seeing the name and going to see it. Maybe the IP is bigger than I ever expected it to be. Like, this feels Star Wars-esque IP. Does anybody agree that Jurassic World's IP is as big as Star Wars? I didn't think so, but it crushed in box office. I'm curious to see if it's going to get near $1 billion. It might hit $1 billion. Also, did we all see that Henry Cavill will not be in season 3 of The Witcher because of disputes when it comes to how they're filming the movie? Creative differences, that's the word I'm looking for. Because of creative differences, he's no longer going to be in The Witcher 3, and they're going to recast. That sucks. I thought he did great in those. I loved Witcher 1 and 2, season 1 and 2. I was not expecting them to recast. I have a feeling. Now, I love Henry Cavill as an actor. He's incredible. I loved him as Superman. I loved him in mostly everything I've seen him in, including The Witcher. But Superman and also The Witcher, he's had creative differences and decided to no longer be a part of those franchises. Now, the DCU was going to end anyway because it was failing box office wise and they were losing money. But this is two franchises that he's said he's had creative differences on and left. Now, maybe he gets to pick and choose every gig he does, but wow, that's two. He kind of feels like, I mean, I guess every artist has differences, but there are some actors that just do it for the money and to continue gigs going. And then there are actors who continuously fight against the writers and directors of the show. And I get that they're all artists and they can all have their opinion and they're but season 1 and 2 is great. Those writers do that for a living. They write the story. They write the story. And so I wonder how many times an actor can say, I have creative differences. We need to either change it or I'm leaving before they get less and less gigs. And I don't want to see Henry Cavill in less and less. Nobody does. He's fine. He's a great actor. He's good to look at. And I loved him as Geralt. And I'm sad he's not going to be in The Witcher. But I have a feeling that him leaving might have some negative effects on how well Witcher season 3 performs. Now, I'm sorry, guys. There's not much news today. And I don't have, you know, a guest on today. So we can't do like the funny debate topics. Oh, you know what? You know what we'll talk about? What are some of your guilty pleasure TV shows to watch? Now, I asked Jamie this when he was helping me fix a computer today. He didn't have a good answer. Seems like he only watches cool stuff. He doesn't watch any like embarrassing, corny TV. I think mine is man, I'm a sucker for like Gordon Ramsay cook shows. I'm a sucker for the Great British Bake Off. I'm a sucker for those like awful, bad, and corny and corporate like police crime and fire procedural dramas. I grew up watching them because my parents watch them. My dad still watches them to this day. So like, 911, 911 Lone Star, CSIs, the Criminal Minds, The Rookie, like I can get sucked into those so easily. Who isn't a, sucker for like Love is Blind or Love Island? Like I have way too many guilty pleasure TV shows that I like, and I'm curious to hear what your guys's are. Those are mine, Gordon Ramsay, corny TV show, procedural dramas, even some dating shows I can get sucked into. I'm a huge anime fan, haven't watched enough anime to have any like embarrassing animes that I watch. I only have been watching the big ones as of recently. I mean, outside of me being a nerd and a huge Marvel fan, I guess you could say this is a guilty pleasure of mine. I'm sure a lot of people would make fun of me for this, but I don't care. I love Marvel. I love these movies. I love these TV shows. I love the game. I love Marvel Rivals. That sucked me in too. But curious to see what your guys's are. And I'm a sucker for rom-com movies. So if you want to throw that in there too, throw that in there too. Let me know in the comments what your guys's are. I'm sorry this isn't a super long episode. It's getting late. I Not a lot of sports news, not a lot of entertainment news, but I am so thankful you guys watch every week because I love doing this. I love talking about topics and news and sports, and I love BSing with my friends and whoever else come on the podcast that wants to come on. I enjoy doing that too, so I appreciate you guys watching and giving love and checking out all the social medias. Now, I'm assuming Jamie might be on next week, or he might be on the socials when I tell you guys how I like the movie and how I found it after I make a social media clip about how Fantastic Four First Steps was after I go see it tomorrow. But I'm getting home late, so that might not be until like Friday, maybe Saturday. We'll see. But I'll be on next week. This has been Crossing Line with Dev. Thank you guys so much for watching. Check out the socials in the comments and like, comment, subscribe. Do all that because it's greatly appreciated. And I'm going to keep doing this because I love doing this. So I will see you guys again next week. Have fun going and seeing the movie this weekend. Let me know how you liked it. Peace.